Washington.
Yep, back when they were itty bitty tiny.
Itty bitty tiny, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. Yeah, Bellevue, Washington used to be the middle of nowhere, and
Yeah, I remember that.
now it might as well just be considered part of Seattle. But yeah. Yep, that wasn't what I wanted. So yeah, Wes says that he's taking the night off. He had some things come up.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
And next week you're off.
And next week I'm off.
Are you going to have fun?
Next week.
Or is this mandatory attendance?
Yeah, well, it's more or less mandatory. So it is. I'm just looking at my calendar. So yeah, it is. Yeah, this one is mandatory. It's my nephew's wedding is next week, and then on July 22nd, which shouldn't impact our game because 22nd is a Saturday. I have family reunion. So yeah, typical summertime busy shenanigans going on.
Is your head cold?
No, I'm just wearing my Boston Scally. Hello, Mr. Gabriel.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm all right.
Feeling better?
Fairly middling.
Yeah. Surviving.
Well, that's good to hear.
And tonight we're putting on Fable Beer Bomb.
Yes. Yes.
Even my cat likes it.
Yeah, until they
Comes
lick
to
it.
sniff my mustache and wonders what's going on. So what you smoking tonight? Bogram Riff?
No, this is Northwest Vapors Irish Cream. It is quite good.
It's a vape, huh?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I also smoke a pipe, but usually I get a local brand. I get from Paul. Well, either from Rich's cigar store or I get from Paul's cigars. They both have their own custom blend, and I like from Paul's. I like Fort Knox, which is vanilla, and I like to mix it with their whiskey Cavendish, which is quite good. And then from Rich's pipe store or cigar shop, I like their custom blend. It's called Rich's Blend, and they're the guy who's been mixing tobacco for them since like 1974. He's come up with his own recipe called Rich's Blend, and or Richard's Blend or something like that. Anyways, it's really good. It's like vanilla and Black Cavendish, and it's just absolutely wonderfully smelling, delicious pipe tobacco. Like it's so good, I almost want to fucking eat it, but that's probably not recommended.
Just chew it.
Yeah, just chew it.
That way you only get tongue cancer.
Right? Yes. Yes.
And how is Sarda?
Sounds like he's plugging in his mic.
I'm doing well. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I
No
thought I had
worries.
my mic turned off, and I did not, as I was chewing in your ears. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm just I'm running a little bit behind, so I'm trying to eat.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
I just finished.
these 7 o'clock games a lot of times, like Wednesday and Friday nights, it's everybody like getting off work and getting their dinner and trying to get
What's
online.
work?
Yeah, right. I know.
We just
Yeah, you're
I
retired and I'm a writer, so what's work?
I just finished a raid in Star Wars Galaxy, Star Wars Online Republic.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah,
Yeah, I got back into Old Republic. It's been kind of fun to come back to it. It's there's a lot of people playing, so
yeah. My buddy's been trying to get me back into. Well, and it's weird because I guess BioWare just sold them
yeah, they
to a
sold
third-party company.
They sold to Broadsword. Broadsword parks old MMOs, and so it has Dark Age of Camelot. It has Ultima Online.
Oh, it does. I didn't know that Ultima Online was still going.
Yeah, it is. And so Broadsword just parks them, and so they let go like almost like 100 people, and I think Broadsword picked up 50 of them.
Nice.
And so the only thing we're really expecting, frankly, from here on out is them to update stuff that's purchasable through the cartel, because that's cash in their pockets, right? So
yeah. Well,
it's,
I mean,
it means we're probably not going to get any new story arc, and what story arc we do get certainly won't be voice acted.
well, they've certainly. I mean, the Old Republic. You can't say that it didn't run its run, because I mean there's been a number of story expansions and a bunch of stuff direct from BioWare that came out that quite frankly was amazing. I mean, I'm a big fan of BioWare's products. They've always, in my opinion, done well, and
It's a George.
The big thing is that BioWare lost their ass.
One of my friends worked there.
BioWare lost their ass on a recent game.
Yeah, they did.
And so they're focusing on Mass Effect and Dragon Age, the next Dragon Age.
Well, and I mean, BioWare losing their ass on their recent game. Yes, that was the one.
Anthem,
I mean,
Anthem's the one that bombed.
It was funny because BioWare, for most of their existence, could do no wrong, and I've been sitting here saying sooner or later they're gonna release something that's gonna bomb. And Anthem, they, for whatever reason, and I can't really fathom who there decided it was a good idea, they wanted to try and jump into the battle royale arena, and I'm like, that's not what you guys do. That you are so far out of your comfort zone. I'm not sure who thought that was a genius idea. And good or bad, I never played Anthem because I'm not into those types of games. But I mean, whether it was good or bad,
It doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Right, it doesn't exist anymore. It's neither here nor there. But like I said, whether it was good or bad is really not, important, because it died on the vine. Like literally, it died almost as soon as it was released, and it just tanked. So, like I said, I knew sooner or later they're gonna slip up and they're gonna release something that's gonna suck
I think it
balls.
still exists. It's not a PC game. It's
Console.
I'm on their website right now, and Play Anthem's available. So Anthem is technically available. From what I understand, it was a marketing issue. They just didn't market it at all. And so
Well,
people
I mean, yeah, but the whole battle royale thing, I don't I don't know who thought that that was a good idea, but all these companies tried to jump and ride Fortnite's coattails, and that's had mixed success. I think the only two that are still really, and I in air quotes, popular is Fortnite, which you got to be a teeny bopper tween in order to like that game because nobody else in their right mind is going to enjoy it. And the other one, of course, is Overwatch, which kind of
Boring.
sort of right. It kind of sort of falls into the same category, and then everybody else is just trying to scrounge their crumbs. And yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not a. I'm not a battle royale fan. Give me some good old fashioned Battlefield, and I don't mean 2042. That game was disappointing, but it does scratch the itch at least. So.
But anyway, Star Wars is going strong still, and the story arcs are phenomenal, and the voice acting's great.
Well, and it's funny that you bring it up because my buddy that I play with frequently just saw today. He was saying that a bunch of him and a couple other people have just gotten back into it because we used to play the shit out of that game back in the day, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, I should get back into that, and I don't know, maybe I will. Maybe I will. I used to really dig the starfighter combat. Like they would have the battle zones for starfighters.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. I haven't invested enough money to get like good ships and stuff, So
neither did I. Yeah,
my stuff's all pretty janky, so I tend to die a lot.
Yes. Well, and I have a buddy who doesn't like to play Battlefield, and he's like, and the reason he doesn't like to play Battlefield is like, I die too much, and I'm like, that's the point of the game.
Yeah, it's
a game of attrition.
There's no real consequence.
Right. Yeah, it's a game of attrition. You will respawn, and the counter at the top of the screen will tick down a number, and then whoever reaches 0 first is the loser. It's really, it doesn't get any simpler than that, But it's crossbows and catapults in a video game. But I digress. Welcome to Deepnight Revelation. We'll be picking up where we left off last week. So last week, you guys had discovered this piece of essentially space junk. It was the ripped off section of a much larger ship, not human, and not any race that you have ever encountered before. And it was just floating out there. And you guys investigated it, and you guys did a lot more to it than I expected. You guys pulled it into your cargo hold and brought it back to Revelation. You're studying it. And Jack used his astrogation skill and kind of backtraced the possible routes that this thing could have traveled. Now, of course, these routes are assuming that it didn't. I'm imagining, there's probably from your current location, if you're looking at a map, there's like 3 dotted lines coming off of possible locations. And those are, of course, assuming that this thing didn't ricochet off of a comet or something else. Of course, you would, if something like that had happened, you would expect that there would be more damage. Or additional damage to what you're seeing, or newer damage. Anyways, long story short, it is in the cargo hold in, what is this? In one of the Ford cargo pods. It is sitting in a hangar space. And, it's maybe 15 D-tons. It is not enormous. And it is an open section. So, like the outside of a cargo bay or something like that, where a ship could possibly dock, and the rest is all literally ripped off of it. So that's where you guys left off. But before we get started, we'd like to thank one of the friends of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They are just products that we really like. And tonight we would like to thank Boston Scally Company. I'm wearing one right now. Boston Scally makes hats. These are actually they are Boston Scally caps, flat caps. They have single panel, 5-panel, 8-panel, like numerous hats. Right now they have a deal going on or a sale for their new hat, the Independence, which it is like almost like a navy blue, like a dark blue with white eyelets on top for venting, and then the bill inside of the bill is red and white stripes. And it's a pretty snazzy cap, and it's made out of like a poly cotton blend, so it's really good for the summertime. But yeah, go to Boston Scally, and they've got just a ton of hats. Find one, and I'm sure you'll find one that'll fit your style and what you want. Right now I'm wearing mine backwards because my wife put it that way, and I'm like, oh hey, this reminds me of the 90s when I was a skater, and I smoked a lot of pot. A lot of pot. So, you know, it kind of goes with my mood right now. But, so, also, we have a merch store for the channel. If you enjoy the show and like the channel and you want to help support us, we've got t-shirts, buttons, a blanket, a beer stein. The beer stein actually makes a better coffee mug, especially if you like giganto coffees. But one of the shirts is the Wednesday night pirate flag is on a shirt. There is a new shirt that's going to be available soon. That is the special missions patch for the Deepnight Revelation crew. So that will be available. But yeah, if you want to help support the channel, go get yourself a button and a t-shirt, and we appreciate your support. Brawnhaven, I am now officially about 3/4 done. I'm in the final stages, finally, of finishing up detailing the hex crawl map for this new adventure, the Lost Mines of Drothamstone, and then I get to actually create the dungeon for the namesake of the book. And so I'm about 3/4 of the way done. It is currently at 78 pages, and I don't know how many pages the main dungeon is going to take. It really depends on the maps, but that will be coming soon. So. But if you are new to old school essentials adventure gaming, check out the Brawnhaven Adventure Bundle via DriveThruRPG or Big Geek Emporium. It is the campaign setting and like the first, let's see, The Thing in the Basement, Light in the Church, Nobleman's Manor, and the Ruins of Castle Bronze. So the first 4 campaign adventures are as with the campaign setting book itself, all in a PDF bundle for $16. That saves you a couple bucks over buying each of them individually. So go to DriveThruRPG and check that out. All right, so you guys have. It always looks funny to see you guys just floating out here in space, but that is how that is how Roll20 works. So you guys get back to the Revelation, and you've got this 15-ton chunk of starship hull that you've offloaded, and so you in your investigations last week, you did learn a couple of things about this. So just to recap, you learned that it came from a vessel that appears to be TL9, and it is jump capable. You know that the crew were roughly humanoid and comfortable in a similar atmospheric and gravity conditions as humans. The vessel that it was torn off of was between 4,000 and 5,000 tons. And it was probably an exploration ship and not a freighter or a warship. You don't see any signs of like there's no connections from the electronics that would go to, for say, weapons turrets or anything like that. This is more of a an exploration ship. The electronics, they are clearly not developed with influences from charted space, so nothing that you have ever seen before, but they're not I was going to say they're not alien to you. Well, yeah, they are. They are alien to you. They are alien to you, but they are not something that you don't understand. You're like, oh, well, they, instead of red for the hot wire, they're using green, and instead of black for your ground, they're using. It's not difficult for you to figure out. So you have this thing aboard, and Jack has already transmitted or calculated the possible trajectories that this thing may have come in, because it came in from out of this solar system that you're in. Now, my first question is, as you were coming back, and this would probably be standard procedure, but I'm going to ask anyways, did you transmit your findings and data ahead of you to Deepnight Revelation? Or are you just waiting to give a report when you show up? I mean, how are you guys handling this?
Anybody got comms?
I think we would have radioed it in just because we're offloading a 15-ton chunk of metal.
Right.
And so we'd want to coordinate, where to do so and what the easiest way to do that is.
Right.
Because frankly, it might be easier to offload it in 0G rather than in gravity. So I don't know if there's a cargo hangar where they could turn gravity off and we could get it out of our ship.
Well, yeah, the full cargo or the full hangar space here at 11 is more than capable of doing that sort of thing. So you don't need to make a communications rule. You transmit your data, and so when you guys arrive, the hangar is kind of set up and ready. They keep it at 0G. They clamp they clamp the Desinex, but they keep the hangar itself in 0G, and that way they can easily offload this 15-ton chunk of stuff. And I
think it's safe, but I think we should make sure that people are following good protocols. And so basically, state that it's, it needs to be, we need to follow good, sanitary protocols as if there were maybe fungus type thing.
So right, and I mean, you guys already went over it. You didn't find any signs of fungal infection or anything like that. But of course, you guys have already made it. You've been very adamant about your procedures.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the crew's used to following quarantine protocols, anything like this.
And so they show up in full hazardous environment suits. They are going over this thing, with a comb, make sure that it is completely safe. There are a couple of people that are armed with flame rifles. So they're ready to sanitize as need be.
Yeah, I just want people to be used to doing this so that they don't get sloppy, or it's not awkward when we do actually really need it done, right?
Right. And so, as you guys are docking, the XO of Revelation contacts you, and he makes a suggestion. So he's going over the astrogation data that was provided that Jack had gone over, and he makes the comment. He says, "Well, astrogation data. I mean, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts here. I mean, we've got 3 possible trajectories of this thing coming in that make the assumption that didn't bounce off of something else. And he says, I have another possible scenario, and I haven't talked it over with the captain yet. I thought I would approach you guys as mission division commanders. I would approach you, see how you felt about it first. But my thought is we could stay here another 2 or 3 days, and we could put Deepnight Revelation into silent running and basically use our passive sensors to search for latent signals. Basically do a SETI program thing where we're listening on that trajectory that Jack made with his astrogation check, basically listening for radio signals to see if there's somebody out there.
Let's do it. I mean, the reality is we may be in a situation in the future where we have to do this to survive. And so let's get used to practicing.
It's funny that you say that because
Is there anybody out
That's
there?
a big clue.
right, well, Point Denman's coming up, and I have discovered I had forgotten about the Deep Space Exploration Guide in the Great Rift box set, and there was a note in the campaign guide that said that Denman was actually created using those rules. So they didn't know that there was a habitable planet there until the writers actually rolled some dice and said, "Oh, hey, how lucky is that? They have a habitable rock," and so that's how Denman was created. And I was like, man, that's really cool because a lot of times that's how I create dungeons in Braunhaven. I'm like, so I'm totally touching base with that. And so then I was looking at the map, and you got a lot of asterisks. You don't even show what these worlds are, just that there's something there. And so I opened that section in the DSE guide, and we don't need to come up with pre-planned stuff. I will just be like, so be prepared. There are going to be some random rolls. And I was kind of laughing. I'm like, if there's not a gas giant in those systems, I mean, you could be 2 or 3 shitty rolls in and be like, oh crap, we're stranded. And so then I may have to come up with some reason for you guys to continue
We have
on.
to invent water.
Yeah, I will have to invent water. Yes, I will.
Yeah, we're hoping for asteroid belts at that point.
Asteroid belts, ice, yeah, whatever. A comet, whatever.
Ice,
But, yeah.
ice mining.
Yeah.
Oh, we go out to the Oort cloud.
So yeah, I mean, and well, not only that, but the system that you were in, you weren't actually refueling from a gas giant. You were actually doing exactly that. You were basically refining fuel from icy asteroids in the outer belt. So, I mean, you probably have it's probably not going to delay you very much because it's going to take a little bit more time because Revelation has a fleet of small craft moving about this asteroid belt trying to suckle on the teat of God, as it were. And it's going to take a little bit longer because there's not a gas giant there. So you guys, who wants to make you guys finish your stuff. You offload the mission. The science crew is going over this thing with a fine tooth comb. It's going to take them some time, and so probably the best place. The XO. This was the XO presenting you with an idea for the listening post. Who among you wants to go to the bridge and put on a pair of headphones?
I'll do it. And I'll work with the sensors folks, right?
Yeah. What are the rest of you doing? Randolph, what are you... I was going to call you Gregor there for a second. Randolph, what are you doing? I mean, you got a couple of options. You can go to the bridge and help out with sensors. You can... I mean, you're more of the engineering persuasion.
Yeah.
You could stay here and help go over this 15-ton chunk of spaceship.
Yeah, and if they want, I'll do a chemical analysis on something.
That's a very good idea. Why don't you go ahead and do a... so how do you want to do that chemical analysis? Are you using your scanner? What are you doing?
Yeah, let's use the scanner.
Okay.
It's probably the best multifunction tool.
Yeah, go ahead and you can make a electronic sensors plus your choice, either intellect or education, because it's kind of a broad spectrum, easy use hand scanner, and you get a +2 to that roll.
Might be able to get an idea of how long ago it was since the ship got destroyed.
Yeah, you know that it's happened sometime in the last 20 years by your estimates. So with an 8, you are spending your time with the science crew. You're going over this thing. You find a couple of interesting things. The first thing is that you find that the crystalline structure in the metal appears to be 30 years old.
Well, that's interesting.
But
it's not very old.
No. The blood smear, however, your sensors are coming back and saying that this blood, so remember there was a blood smear on one of the walls.
Yeah.
The blood smear on one of the inner walls appears to only be about 14 years old.
Oh.
So that's what you gain from that.
Thank you.
What is Jack doing?
I don't know. Security?
you could do security. I mean,
He's securing the 15 D tons of metal.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he could be standing there with one of the flamers. And I don't mean one of the Navy crew either. So, you could, you got a couple of options. I mean, you're the one who ran the astrogation check, so you could probably assist Sarda up on the bridge, in kind of doing a kind of an extended task check or task chain on nailing down these listening sensors. That's an option. You could, you could assist Randolph in his engineering, or like you said, you could run security and make sure that the fungus among us doesn't possibly rear its ugly head.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Or you could go drink. I mean, you're back on board. I mean, what the fuck? You're a Marine.
Yeah. Go back to that poker game.
Yeah, you get back to that poker game, and
No, I'll help them double check for fungus.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation. Investigate plus intellect check. Dude.
I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, no. So
$2,000 for a pipe?
What?
I'm looking for a pipe, and there's one for sale for $2,000.
You're talking about a tobacco pipe, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a really fancy pipe. I was like, are you out of your skull? Yeah, jeez.
Is that hand carved scrimshaw? I mean,
yes,
No,
from a whale. It's hand carved scrimshaw from the tusk of a woolly mammoth. It died,
while it was still alive.
Yes, 80,000 years ago. Yeah, no.
and from a narwhal.
A narwhal. Oh no! Now that song's gonna be stuck in my head. Narwhal, narwhal. So
Baby shark.
Baby shark. Yes, it's as bad as that. So, Jack, you don't find any signs of contamination, of course, but you do find something else. I'm looking. So in Jack's investigations, Jack is kind of going over the ship, kind of looking to find if there's any signs of infection. And I mean, you guys are at this point. I have successfully made you paranoid enough about the fungus that you know what to look for. I mean, Jack's not even paying attention to sensor ratings. He's eyeballing it like, I know what I'm looking for. I know what this looks like. And Jack comes across something very odd. So, on the remains of, there was a bulkhead here and a door, and there was clearly the other side has been ripped off of the ship, so the door goes nowhere. But he finds that there is a sensor panel, and with a very minor amount of power, like, from one of his single shot laser cells, he's able to kind of hold the battery up to this thing, and the display lights up enough that he's able to make the distinction that whatever race that operated the ship, you already know that they are human-like. They can operate in the same atmospheric and gravity conditions. But you also learn that these people had hands that had 3 fingers and 2 thumbs. They had 2 opposable thumbs on either side. And that's what this palm print sensor is for opening and closing the door. Whatever this door originally went to was evidently of secure enough reasons that they needed to have a palm print scanner to open it. It could have gone to environmental engineering, who knows, but it was something of importance that required a palm print scanner. And he learns that apparently the palms of their hands and their fingerprints are individual, similar to humans.
So are the thumbs opposing? They're on opposite sides of the hand? Is
Yeah,
that how it
so
works?
where your pinky is,
Right.
Is
that would be
thumb.
another thumb. Well, I mean,
And-
not really.
And
It'd be
functionally,
lower
our
down.
little finger works as another thumb.
Right. Yeah, they have 2 opposable thumbs on each hand
Just
and
that-
3 fingers.
They have a big little finger instead of a little one.
I mean, when these guys flip you
That's
off,
why if you
know
take
it.
fingers off of people, you want to take the middle fingers off because you can't grasp things without a little finger,
Well,
a thumb.
right. You need a thumb. Right. These guys got 2.
So functionally, they're not that different from us, but
Right.
Well, they got
That's cool.
hands. That's handy. Get it?
It's handy. Nice. What is George doing?
George is going to do he's going to do what he does best. He's going to take his police skills and agent skills, and he's going to thoroughly investigate the ship.
The
I'm really good at that.
the 15-ton chunk, or
Pardon me?
are you talking about investigating the 15-ton chunk that you have sitting in the hangar, or?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation, or investigate plus intellect check.
9 plus 2 is 10, or plus 1 is 10, plus 2 is 12.
Okay. That's actually pretty good too. So you kind of this is kind of a task chain along with what Jack was doing. So
I'll take it.
You see what Jack did, and with one of his laser revolver cells, and he just kind of pokes it up against some prongs, and he gets the screen come on, and that's how you determine this with the handprint. And you go ahead and do a similar thing to another console, and you are able to bring up, for a limited amount of time, a display of a 5,000 ton ship. Very limited weapons. And when I say limited, out of 5,000 tons, they had, what you're initially seeing is they had a couple, you can count them on one hand, like beam laser turrets. And that's it.
Oh, okay.
This was clearly an exploration ship. It had two scout class vessels that were attached to it. And they were attached kind of like on pylons, like on either side. And these things could detach and move about, but they were extremely small. To say they call them, well, you don't know what they call them, but your guess is that it's similar in function to like the way that you guys use the Desinex, but you're not seeing jump drive capability on any of these. When you're looking at the schematics, nothing jumps out at you as saying, hey, that's a jump drive. You are able to determine that something is a maneuver drive, and you can see at the schematics where a power plant might be. Like I said, all the electronics are stuff that is easily discernible by you. You don't know what the writing says, but you can look at it and be like, I know what that is.
So an ancient colony ship of some kind is what I'm going to deduce.
Yeah, maybe. It's some kind of exploration ship is what they were doing.
Well, they may have had those ships just like what we're doing right now to get ice. There's a lot of reasons you might want a smaller scout ship.
So, Sarda, make your electronics sensors your choice of either education or intellect.
Sure, and I'm actually having the team work on this, right?
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you.
I'm gonna sort of double check them, but I mean, I want them to take first whack at it.
So I'm gonna have you make two. Wow, that's really good, and we're gonna add a plus.
Well, yeah, I'm really, really good at it.
Yeah, we're gonna add
I want the actual sensors team to actually feel like that, rather they actually have work to do rather than just yell first every time it comes up.
So I'm going to add a +5 to that, which is ridiculous. Go ahead and make one more.
Sure.
Jesus. Okay. So over the course of 3 days, the ship has to operate in near silent running. So even walking down the corridors, like no running. There's digital signs that are up in the hallways. No running. No talking loudly. No nothing. Even the work that's going on in this hangar kind of dulls down to the quietest possible so that you guys can listen to everything. And you do hear something.
It's the no flushing the toilet part that the guys I know
that's the hardest part. Yes,
the guys that were in subs talk about that was the worst part about silent running.
Yes, that's the worst part. So you do pick up various signals, some of which may be of intelligent origin, but there's one signal that ends up standing out, and it is. Let's see. It is a repeated pulse signal that cannot be. It's not any kind of Morse code that you can decipher, but it is a repeated signal. And it is coming from a system that is 3 parsecs away.
All right. Well, we'll bring that up to the captain. I know that this the wreckage we found appears to be from an exploration ship. That civilization would probably want to know what happened to it.
Right, and I mean, this is kind of why you are out here. You are here at Katoy.
So is it this one straight north?
Yes, it would be that one straight north, and there's a gas giant there to refuel at.
Okay.
Isn't that
So-
convenient?
So that doesn't take us horribly off course.
No, it's not. It's not super detrimental to your.
We're jump 4 capable?
You are. I will bring up that page.
I hope
Right.
so. If we're going this far,
Oh, yeah, I just didn't know if it was 4 or 5.
Yes, jump 4 at 75,000 tons, reduce fuel requirement minus 10%. So yeah.
Okay.
There have been a few minor improvements with Revelation, but it, for the most part, it is just a regular Amara class cruiser. I mean, like I said, there's been a couple of modifications. A lot of that's internal and removal of weapons.
Right, because it was a military vessel originally, right?
Right.
So it's
Yeah, and the
technically a civilian, but
so
it
the
still has a lot
Amara
of
class,
military stuff.
the Amara class was originally designed to be a heavy cruiser, and so they could operate on their own with a couple of minor, much smaller vessels, and basically the Amara class was, if an Amara class jumped into your system, shit probably went down. It's not a good sign that Amara jumps in by itself with support vessels. It's like, who do we piss off? You know, that kind of thing. Otherwise, they are pretty much the vanguard of a fleet. And so this is a big, possibly
Ooh,
angry boat.
8 fusion barbettes.
Yeah, well, that's on Revelation.
Yeah.
It's not.
There used to be more.
Revelation is not under defended. So, yeah, this isn't, you know.
But yeah, there would be more if it was actually still a commissioned military.
Yeah, if you can imagine what an Amara is like, and remember, this has been kind of downgraded. Yeah, I mean, it's a scary boat. So yeah, you are able to pick up these transmissions that are. It is a pulse that is repeated over and over. You do pick up another transmission, more along the route that you would normally be heading, and this radio transmission is very weak, but it is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of light years away, and it is a similar kind of it's not a pulsed code, but it is similar in nature. It's obviously coming from an intelligent species. So, what would you guys like to do?
Do we have the translator? Is there a way to decrypt or translate whatever the message is being sent from the distant one?
That's a really good question.
Or if it's on repeat, I guess maybe there's not enough to go by.
It's not. So the further away one, there isn't enough there to really translate. But no, that's not what I wanted either. I mean, kind of. It's not enough for you to translate, but it is enough for you to determine, kind of what this is, and the translation matrix. There's not enough there for it to really translate the language, but what it does translate is a mix of signals. It translates orbital flight traffic control, news broadcasts, and entertainment.
Well, that's interesting. So some way out there is.
If I get some pirate TV, I'd be happy.
The signal that yeah, right. The signal that is coming that you have determined may be from the wreckage, which is 3 parsecs coreward of you. The closest that the translation matrix can come up with is that the recommendation signal GK, meaning that it would be an SOS call.
That's the close one?
That's the one that is most likely the origin of where this chunk of junk in your hangar came from.
Wow. Okay, that's not good. If they're also doing an SOS call. All right, yeah. Let's go check that out.
I think so.
Okay.
Which ship are we taking?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
that comes down to the captain, right? Because I mean, it's whether or not, because we're going to lose at least a week if we go to the stress.
And the scouts only jump 2, isn't it?
The Destinex is only jump 2, and
So
this
it
is
takes
3
a
jumps
month
away.
to go there and come.
Yeah, and this is 3 jumps away.
So I'd recommend the deep space head.
Yeah,
we know that if there's a gas giant, so we can get.
Right.
I don't know that we know there's a gas giant, but there is a gas giant there.
It's charted space, so you do know.
Okay.
You're aware that there is a registered gas giant there, so you're not worried about running out of gas.
So we'll lose a week this way, but if we try to take the Destinex, we're losing maybe a month. So trying to catch it back up.
True.
It's a long time, though. That's
a week, not necessarily. We may have actually gained some time by going to that one planet, having them refill our food sources, because there's a lot of extra time scheduled for having to hit planets and harvest, because we're not fully self-sufficient. We have to be able to gather resources quite often.
Right. I actually figured it out.
Extra time for that.
Your journey from Tobiah to Denman at jump 4 should have been about just over a year, and your guys are almost there. And even with the small minor cluster fucks that have happened along the way, you're only at 9 months, and you're going to get there ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I mean they have to pad it because we have to gather resources along the way,
right?
And that can take a while, and so
right. And when you get to Denman, there will be a refit of Revelation. So you're probably going to be on Denman for at least another 6 months.
Nice.
But at least you'll be on planet, basically 6 months of shore leave is essentially what most of you are going to end up with. So,
nice.
Yeah. Terrible, right? So
I'm not gonna
how we're gonna live with that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna be able to fit in my vac suit when I get back.
I know. So they can let out a vac suit, right? Taylor, we can just add a couple of inches. So you guys, you get you talk to the captain. He is completely on board, and it is not a hard sell because as he tells you, the captain comes to the bridge and is looking over Sarda's shoulder at what he's seeing. He puts on the headset and he listens to it, and he takes it off and he says, ultimately, this is one of the 2 reasons that we are out here. We're not just here to deal with the Deepnight entity. We are attempting to make contact and to chart places that nobody in charted space has ever been before that we know of. And
Well,
so,
the thing I would worry about is that we're possibly going into an apocalyptic event. We already had one spaceship from this direct area didn't make it, and now this seems to be the home of that spaceship is now got an SOS. So I mean, maybe their civilization collapsed. I mean, there's a lot of
A lot of stuff that could have happened.
well, no. So you got two signals. One, the closest one, where you guys would jump to find this SOS, is
Right.
not the same direction as
it's
the
not
civilization.
Okay.
It's the civilization that you're receiving is very, very faint signals, and it's
Oh no, I'm
hundreds
talking
of
about the
parsecs along
Uh,
your direct
Right.
route.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about the wreckage that we found.
Right.
We believe that it's from the system that had the SOS signal, right?
Everything that you're seeing is correlating that those two things are related.
Right. So I'm picturing, Superman event, planets exploding, sending your kid out in a spaceship, and then that spaceship didn't make it either.
Wow,
And so,
worst case scenario.
Well, I mean, but
Really.
I mean, if
The
an
sub
entire system-
collapsed. There's
if
no
an
hope.
entire system, if a space-faring system has an SOS beacon on repeat, my take is that means that they're in trouble, right? Because they could turn it off.
Well,
soon as they're not in-
as an example, the United States could send a craft to the moon, and it could have a problem and send out an SOS call for any help. It doesn't mean that the United States is experiencing a mass apocalypse. I mean, it is, but that's not necessarily the situation. It could just be that ship has had an issue. You know what I mean?
Right, but I'm saying they are spacefaring and they
Right.
have jump capability, and so you would think that they'd be able to resolve their own crisis unless they've had some type of breakdown. And
Well,
That's-
it's only tech level 9, so I mean, you guys would know enough, and you would spent enough time working on rift haulers and things of that nature out in the deep rift that I mean, you guys especially are more knowledgeable that if you're out in the black, the deep black, and shit goes wrong, like the most minor thing that goes wrong can suddenly become major.
Lower berth. I'm good.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Freeze me, baby.
Just saying.
Yeah. He carries a
When
spare
the-
car battery with him wherever
when
every
the-
ship
when the
he
po-
goes on.
the power goes out, it doesn't help.
Right. So the captain's 100% on board with this. He says he tells the helm to set course, and they do. So you have a week jump between here and there. What are you guys doing? Are you doing anything spectacular in your week jump, or are you doing your norm? Like, is Randolph and Jack going to poker?
Well, we've got an SOS to respond to when we get there, so let's make sure the Desinex is.
That's a good
I'm
idea.
doing my weekly engineering checks on the Desinex, on the Windex.
So to answer Jack's question, literally silent. Yes, you were silent running on a spaceship for 3 days. And to answer your thought process on that is that yes, that is actually a thing. Yeah, that is a thing. I know that sound waves don't emanate through the vacuum of space, but it is still a thing. Silent. Not only that, but if you're using listening devices, you can't have other sources making sound, or else you're not going to hear what you're trying to hear. Is the thing.
Certain electronic sound.
There's another problem with silent running. there is another problem. Like if a space warship goes into silent running, another thing happens that is seldom talked about, is that it starts to get really hot. because you're not venting any heat. So in space, you would think that cold would be your issue. It's not. It's getting rid of the heat that all of your electronics are generating. And so silent running in space generally means that you turn off all heat. That's not the case in this scenario, but it would also mean shutting off all your venting, so your thermals go through the roof, and it suddenly becomes very, very uncomfortable if you're trying to be stealthy, because you know you want to appear as cold as possible so you don't appear on anybody's sensors. That's just a realistic view. But aside from that, so in your week, that's a good idea. So Sarda, you're wanting to make sure Destinex is ship shape.
Well, we just hauled a 15-ton chunk of metal, and so let's go over the ship, make sure it's in good shape. We've had worms try to bore their way into the hull, so let's make sure that make sure the Destinex is in good shape, because we're most likely going to be the ones responding to that SOS.
So who all among you is using engineering to go, or well, mechanics really, to go over the ship? What are you going over specifically, I guess?
Well, I'm going over the engineering stuff.
Yeah, I'll do anything mechanical, make sure that, things literally, like it's kind of like just making sure what works, what doesn't, what can we make work, that kind of stuff.
Right. So Randolph, go ahead. Go ahead and just make a general What's your highest engineering roll?
2.
Go ahead and make
Plus
it
2.
engineering 2 plus your intellect or education, and we'll go ahead and use that as your roll.
8.
Okay. So you do go over Destinex. You do find a couple of with an 8. You don't find that anything was technically malfunctioning as far as the drives or life support or any of the electronics. You don't find anything like that, but you find, of course, you find stuff that is, this needs to be calibrated. This isn't torqued down properly. This isn't, adjusted right. And so Randolph is spending his time turning torque wrenches and making sure stuff is properly aligned.
And replacing filters.
Replacing
Yes.
filters. Oh my God, we're still on the
fluids.
Yes.
Fluid.
Yeah, he's pulling dipsticks, replacing air filters. He's good. George, go ahead and make a mechanic plus intellect or education check.
No, we're going to use intellect. My education level is like a 5, but my intellect is 13.
Gabe's going to want all the wiper fluid replaced.
Yes.
7 plus
it's space. We just
11.
squirt alcohol on it.
Okay.
Let it evaporate really quick.
So in the week, George is able to determine that the patches that were done where the leechers had attached to the hull of the ship, he is not confident in their patchwork, and George.
Well, look what the thing is.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there were those leechers that were attached to the ship that were eating the hull of the ship, and they secreted an acid that they then sucked up and absorbed into them, and it melted through parts of the armor hull on the Destinex. And so George, it has been patched, but George is not 100% confident in those patches, and so the engineering crews are now coming out and repatching and repainting those sections of Destinex's hull. What is Jack doing?
He's in the Sims practicing.
Playing poker.
Okay. Interesting. So Jack.
What did you hear from our lady friend at poker?
And now I need to open another book because Jack is going off script. So
Just be lucky we don't all do that.
Jack, you go to poker, and
She's rather cold shoulder to Jack this week.
no, Jack, you go to poker, and your new your new buddy is tagging along with you. Miek Estavi. His arm is still in a inflatable brace, but doctors say that his arm is probably going to be okay. They don't think that they're going to have to amputate and do any kind of augmentation. They think that the work that your dolphin doctor did is going to pan out for him, and so he is kind of following you around, and he well, go ahead and make a carouse plus social check. Okay, so in the course of the week, you've gone to. They have kind of set up their own little private bar, and a lot of the liquor. Well, they've got, of course, top shelf liquor, which Jack, of course, has access to, because Rank has privileges, even though Rank isn't supposed to be paid attention to in here. But they have set up their own little private bar in one of the crew sections of the mission pods, and they've got their top shelf liquor, which is whiskeys and scotch and vodkas and all manner of liquors that are imported, of course, that people brought with them and donated to the cause. And then there is the standard well drinks, which is inter-engine Pruno that is very fresh. It gets the job done, but it is strong and tastes like rubbing alcohol. So over the course of this week, you have spent some time with Miek Estavi, and Estavi asks you, Jack, and let me pull her up here. He says he goes he says first he says, so we're sitting here, and I want to be clear, rank isn't an issue, right?
Rank isn't an issue for who?
It's for me and you.
Oh, you just want to speak freely? Yeah, I got no problems.
So he says, all right. So he says, what do you think about Chandra Vledin?
She seems all right. She seems capable. Why? Have you had problems with her?
He says, oh, no. He says, I think she's absolutely amazing.
You guys have been drinking too much.
He says, I would.
Oh no!
I would really.
Some people aren't so picky.
And he says, and I'm not asking for any favors. He just says, I'm actually putting in a request to be moved to engineering because I'd really like to get on her shift so that I could get to know her a little better. And when you laugh, he just kind of he blushes and he's like, well,
Yeah, I'll talk to Sarda about
It'll be
that.
a long trip.
You certainly can take a shot. Doesn't bother me.
He says, really? You would put in a word for me?
I'll see what they want to do about you getting on that ship. You don't have much skill in engineering, though.
Well, I'd be willing to learn anything I can, anything that maybe she can teach me. um, so one of the things when you guys signed up to go on Deepnight, one of the rules, and this is, and I sorry for not bringing this up sooner, but one of the golden rules of Deepnight Revelation is no effing babies. And so they realized that people are going to be in space for a long time, and that's a possibility. And so there were a number of options of birth control. Some were surgical that could later be reversed. Some were permanent. There were pills. There were hormone transplant, whatever. And so everybody had their whatever. So, I would imagine most of you are probably doing like a monthly injection or something like that. Bocephus is all about the monthly injections. And
my tubes tied.
Except he has to have them every week.
yes, yeah, being a dolphin, he has to take one probably once every morning. But
Vasectomy is a lot easier.
He's probably going to leave a bunch of babies along the way, but not on the ship. So we're good.
Yes. God hope that we don't find any dolphin compatible species. So that was kind of the agreement. And so I mean, if this guy, you know, there shouldn't be any problem. If they want to go for it, then yeah, whatever. What is Sarda? What are you doing during this week?
Well, I mean, the other guys seem to be going over the other aspects of the desk next. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna go through and inventory everything on board. You know, make sure the first aid kits are there and have everything they need to. You know, just basic.
That is an excellent plan.
Inventory of the desk next. Make sure everything's in proper order and in the right spot. That kind of thing.
So, I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, Desnex is only 200 tons. It's not like there's a whole lot here. But yeah, you go through basically the ship's locker and make sure it's all in order. And so the ship's locker. Here's an example. The ship's locker has. Let's see. What does it say? 1, 2, 3. There are 4. Emergency vac suits in the ship's locker, and then there is of course a first aid kit and probably a pistol in there, probably a snub pistol.
Okay.
The rest of the ship, of course, you're inventorying and making sure that there is food supplies, etc. And you need to make sure that it's got, you know, supplies for a minimum of 12 weeks of operation. So you're going through and inventorying essentially the camper and making sure that you're ready for a trip.
And then the other thing I want to do is probably try to figure out when we arrive who else we might want to grab to go respond to the SOS. You know, we've got one doctor. I don't know if we might want to bring more trained medics. If it's a medical emergency, we might need more engineers. So just basically get an idea of who we'd want to add to our team for the first response.
Right. Well, we lost Randolph.
I'm here.
Okay.
I just closed the wrong.
You clicked an X you shouldn't have clicked on. I see. What's
on Skype? Not on Roll20.
What is George doing?
George is going to go with.
You're going to do inventory as well?
Yeah. I'm going to. You know what? Because it's just one of those things. I'm not really much of an accountant or anything like that, but. We often had to do inventory in the mechanic shop back when I was a travel agent for convicts going from prison to prison. So I also want to prepare, if they're going to take, go on an expedition, I want to make sure that I'm going to be there with them too, right?
So yeah, you're probably going over making sure that the repair drones and probe drones are all in stock, and that you're not that they're probably in operational order, because that would kind of suck. So that's what you're spending the week doing, making sure that all of that is in op order. And after the week, and I
Hey
mean,
guys, I had to change the filters in the bathroom. One of you needs to go see a doctor.
well, maybe they've
That
been
was
seeing
Josephus.
they might have been seeing the doctor too much.
That was some of his wonder drugs.
Yes. Why is the mirror in the bathroom broken? And what is this white powder? So yeah, you spend the week doing all of your various things. There's a lot of individual time overall. So Jack comes to Sarda and with this idea of Miak, maybe transferring to engineering. Jack, are you going to tell Sarda? Are you going to say why, or are you just going to present the idea? How are
I'm
you
gonna
doing?
tell him why.
Okay.
I tell him Mayak wants a couple of shifts in the engineering and wants to take a shot at Chandra.
Wow, that is a Marine response. He wants to take a shot at Chandra.
Why not, right? Tell it like it is.
Basically, give him a copy of the rules on workplace sexual harassment. Make him sign that, and fine.
Yes.
And then make sure that he's going to be a trainee, right? He is a trainee.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, he's not
Yeah,
really,
he's got no skills.
I mean, he's got Jack of all trades 1,
Right.
and he's got mechanics 0. So it's not a terrible idea, but
So just make sure that Chandra and her direct supervisor know that if he's becoming a distraction or is harming things rather than helping, we'll reassign him. That type of thing.
okay.
You can shove garbage out the airlock.
Man, Mayek's going to be really happy about that. He's going to take his shot on Chandra, which,
She's got a decking.
well, you might be surprised. So yeah, the week goes by, and you come out of jump, and this is of course let me find this map again. Where did I? There we go. So you are wait, where am I? There we go. You are up here. And there is, of course, a gas giant, and Deepnight Revelation immediately starts to make for the gas giant. Who wants to make an electronic sensors check?
Not
I'm a
me.
0. I'm a 0 on sensors.
Give me
I have a 1,
electronic.
but still.
There you go. So you guys come in.
I'm ranked 4 in sensors. So I've got a 5.
Yeah, he's basically the best in an entire stellar sector at operating sensors.
The same with jump drive. I'm ranked 4 in jump drive engineering.
Yeah, right. So you pick up the first thing that you pick up out of jump is that there is an object coming towards you, or towards Deepnight Revelation, from from the rings of this gas giant. And of course, as soon as Deepnight comes out, it of course changes course and points towards the gas giant, because it's going to go refuel. And you see that there is this object that's coming towards you. It is, hold on here, I will tell you.
It is a
Well,
Death Star.
that's hard to say, but it's showing that it is about 100 meters long. And it is heading towards Deep Night Revelation at what you can determine watching the sensors in kind of a lazy zigzag pattern at about 8G.
Well, that's interesting. That's pretty good speed.
That's pretty.
But it's moving in an almost organic kind of wavy pattern, like it's
a sine wave.
Yeah, more or less in a sine wave kind of pattern, yeah.
Start scanning this thing, figuring out what the hell we're looking at.
So your sensors come up that this is a
It's gonna be one of those space whales we saw the corpse of.
yes, it is a Leviathan.
This is a space. Oh my God!
But it
It's here
is only about 100 meters long. This is either a small one or a young one.
It's gonna mate with our ship.
And it is leaving the rings around the gas giant and weaving towards Revelation. And it kind of comes up to Revelation, and then it shows interest, and then turns around and darts away at like 15 Gs. And then it'll turn around and it'll come back and kind of check out Revelation, and then turn around and dart away.
Let's follow it. It seems to be trying to get us to go follow it.
Yeah, every time it darts away, it's heading back towards the rings.
So let's follow it. In the meantime, let's try to figure out where that SOS is coming from.
So that's the second part of your sensor check. The SOS, you're not receiving anything. So the thing about radio waves is that if they get sent out,
right,
they will travel for however, well, essentially forever until they peter out. But what you heard may have, and like you guys already know, that whatever happened about 14 years ago. And so by the time you get there, it's
too late.
You're not receiving anything now. But this Leviathan keeps going back, and then it'll come back, and then it moves behind Revelation and is following Revelation in its drive plume. And on your sensors, you see that this Leviathan puffs out all of these they look like fiber optic feathers, and it puffs them out all the way around it, and it's just sitting behind Revelation.
Oh, it likes that.
So the other thing then would be
it's a cat.
Looking for radio signals coming from any of the planets to determine if this...
The only radio signals that you're getting are coming from the gas giant, and you're picking... Of those, most of them are just normal noise that would come from a gas giant. You are picking up a couple of mining signals, but there are a couple of miners that are out there in the belts, but aside from that, nothing. And when I say a couple of mining, like 3, there's nothing here.
Okay.
Do we want to try and calm the miners?
Yeah, let's try getting the miners on radio.
Okay, go ahead and make a electronics comms plus intellect or education check.
I don't know that any of us are great at comms, so maybe somebody else.
I'm a 0. It's all I got. I'm straight old 2D.
I mean, I've got +1 because of my education, and I rolled really well.
Nice. So you send out a general broadcast, and you get like 2 or 3 of them are like, "Fuck off," and then they turn off comms. But you do get one guy back, and he says, "What do you want? Who are you? What are you even doing out here?"
Deep Space Revelation, we're responding to an old SOS code that came from this system. We were trying to find if there was anything that anyone needs assistance.
He says, wow, no SOS has come from any of us. We're just out here trying to mine and, mind our own business, which, most people out here do. But, he says, if there was a distress call, he says, would it be worth anything?
I mean, probably to the people who needed help. It sounds like they don't need help any longer.
I need help.
Oh God.
Yeah. So usually when there's a distress
do we have a
signal,
female bot we can send over?
yeah, there's a distress signal. You usually try to respond to it. We have come to this system in direct response to receiving that distress signal. We were just trying to determine if anything was still needed. Are you not a native of this system? I take it.
Says no. I bounce around.
And what can you tell us about these space whales that are orbiting the gas giant?
Oh yeah, there's a young one that's out there. It seems real protective of something over there. He says, don't let one of them slap you. Like Bob, one of the other miners, slapped his ship and damn near tore off his jump drive.
Okay.
Ask him if he needs water or food.
Yeah. Is there anything you are in need of in terms of trade or
No. I'm okay. Imperial
I got
Platinum credit plaques. I could use some of those. If you want more information about the region, that is.
How about instead we provide you with quite a bit of entertainment? We have thousands of hours of television and movies from many different systems that we have been collecting along the way. And so surely someone who is working on an isolated environment.
Did you know that sounds like something that's worth more than credits? I could actually I could take advantage of that. Yeah.
I'll throw in a gallon of pseudo scotch.
If you want to, from Bocephus's private reserve, don't tell him.
Bathtub gin.
No,
It's dolphin bathtub gin, meaning that he was laying in the bathtub while the gin was.
We actually had the biogenerator generate some peat and some oak barrels and
right. Well, I mean, technically, you could
splash a bit into my blowhole.
Yes, he's like, yeah, entertainment. Well, that's actually worth its weight in platinum. I could completely get on board with that. You start the transmission, and I'll tell you a little bit about the region.
Platinum.
I'll start transmitting my collection of essentially A-Team episodes from various systems.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, A-Team reboots.
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island.
Yes. Oh, boy. And so he says, so these space whales, I've run into them a couple of times. And he's like, he tells you, he says, I'm looking at my sensors. It looks like you got one, a wee one that's following you. That would be a baby.
Yep.
He says, they act like living starships.
We encountered the corpse of one in a previous system that was quite a bit bigger than this, so yeah.
He says, yeah. He says, they have been known to do what we like to refer to as a spin and nudge, and they will just kind of knock you out of the way, and then they will dart away, and they're capable of moving it up to. Some of them are capable of moving it up to 50 or 60 Gs. I don't think that they have any kind of capability of like jump drive or anything like that. But who knows what the big ones can do?
They die.
Just, honestly, you're the first people that have ever taken me seriously. I've told people about the space whales for a long time, and nobody's ever paid attention to me. Says the other thing I'll tell you about, you got to look out in the next couple of sectors. You need to look out for the Mavzog.
All right. What are the Mavzog?
Well, they've got this little tyrant empire going on a sector over. Says they are, well, he says you'll always.
It's got to be
know...
more than one sector. This is.
Well, that's a
right.
subsector. These are subsectors.
Oh, I see, subsector.
Yeah.
I got you.
So he says they're like a sector over. He says, well, you'll always know when the Mavzog is smiling at you, because they're always smiling at you. They're all teeth. They are a tyrannical, imperialistic nation. They are most unpleasant. So if you see something that has a grin full of teeth that takes up most of its head, just shoot. And don't stop shooting until it stops moving.
Sounds like a raptor.
Okay. So the corpse of the space whale that we found had some type of parasite that attacked the hull of our ship.
Oh yeah, leechers. Those things suck.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
He says they suck. Literally, they suck.
Are those known to infect the living whales?
Oh yeah,
is that something we also need to be worried about.
Sometimes some of the bigger ones you can see them. You know, he says swim by. He says you can see them swim by, and they'll have 100 of these things hanging off of them. Most of the bigger ones, that's okay, but you get that many of them on a smaller one, and they're not feeling so good. You can tell by the way they move. They slow down considerably. They might only be able to run away at like 8 or 9 Gs.
Okay.
Meanwhile, while you're having
how many Gs do our missiles use?
I think most missiles only travel at like 10 G. So I mean, these Leviathans are capable of outrunning most missiles. But the small Leviathan that is following you in your drive plume, it then in the midst of this conversation, it comes out and kind of comes up alongside, and the rest of you are looking out the portholes and on your view screens, and you can see this thing, and it's got these big bioluminescent feathers sticking out, and then it kind of folds them up and then darts at like 20 G towards the rings of the gas giant, and halfway there it flips around, turns around, and looks back at you, and then comes back a little bit, and then turns around like it's wanting you to follow it.
Yeah, it wants us to follow, and so I mean, unless it's a danger to the ship, I would say we do it.
We get in the scout.
Yeah, the captain's going to go on a refueling run if you want to take a scout ship.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay.
So grab a xenobiologist.
Okay.
And I don't know.
You may want a medic since.
Yeah. Grab another medic and a xenobiologist, and it seems to be taking us to see something, and so I'm wondering if there's a wreck or maybe a mother that's in danger.
I want to take a chief master, a gunnery sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah, a gunner might be a good idea.
Okay. So
a master gunner.
What was that guy? Enrique? I think he's. Yeah, Enrique. And he's. So when his name comes up from Randolph, he's got this exact look on his face, like, God damn it, you guys again. That's the exact look he's got on his face. So he's got Gunner. He's got Gunner Turret 1. You've got a xenobiologist. Anybody else? And you've got a medic. Basically, he's a field medic.
Let's grab another engineer, just for the heck of it.
Okay. You grab Chandra.
There we go.
She comes along. She does bring Mayak with her because he's training, and so he's kind of tailing her. And she's like, that's kind of, procedure.
Right. Mike, have you ever operated a flame rifle?
I don't think Mayak's operated much of fucking anything. Let's see. Has he? He has. No, he has never operated a flame rifle. He's never
Perfect.
he's not even rated for any kind of weapon whatsoever.
Perfect.
Give him a grenade launcher.
More bait.
Grenade launcher or shotgun. All you got to do is point in the general direction.
How is he in a vac
Put
suit?
a red shirt on him.
Well, he does have vac suit 0.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
So
I mean, but and he's got Jack of all trades 1. I mean, the kid has panache. You can't deny him that. So Jack, you guys are kind of following. You're seeing where this Leviathan's going. Jack, you guys launch out of Deepnight Revelation in the Destinex, and Jack, go ahead and make a piloting spacecraft plus dexterity check. Nice. So Jack
Plus
brings.
4 is nice, Jack.
Right. No shit. So Jack brings the Destinex into this ring system, and these rings are chunks of ice and rock, and they're very small. I mean, the largest of these chunks is maybe, the size of a beach ball, but there's a lot of them, and so Jack is expertly diving into this ring system and kind of maneuvering so that there's not a whole bunch of stuff bouncing. I mean, there's, of course, minor impacts, but there's nothing larger than a baseball or a golf ball that's bouncing off the hull at this point. He's doing an excellent job bringing you in.
Donk, 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 donk. Donk.
Yes, dunk, dunk, dunk. Who wants to make a electronic sensor?
George has got a quart of vodka tonight.
Do another electronic sensors plus intellect or education. There you go. Nice. So, Sarda is sitting at the sensors console, and the Leviathan, the small Leviathan, as soon as it sees you heading in that direction, it starts heading towards what you can only describe as a clump. There is a cluster of these asteroids that have been moved, and you are detecting in the center of this, as you get closer, that, well, you're detecting two things with your sensors. The first thing that you're detecting is that the content, the asteroids that have moved into this clump, all of them have a high iron content. None of them are ice rocks.
Okay.
They were picked selectively. In the center, you are picking something up that has metallic content. Not necessarily iron, but you're picking up aluminum, iron, alloys, steel, things of that manner, sitting in the middle of this cluster. And you witness this Leviathan go out, and it actually grabs it selectively picks an asteroid and nudges it with its nose and moves it closer to this clump. And now it kind of moves away and turns around and it's watching you guys.
Are
We're
we-
to bat it back?
Are we detecting anything from? I'm you're gonna be scanning whatever it is that's on the that it's whether anything that might be unusual coming from that asteroid in terms of sensor readings.
So your sensor readings are coming up that the metallic section in the middle of this clump of iron content asteroids is about 40 meters long, and it seems to be made of the same materials of the wreckage that you already found.
So like it's another spaceship. Okay.
And it takes the form of a narrow tube. Well, I will just show you a picture, I think. Where is it? There we go. This, as Jack brings you closer, this is what you see.
All right, so that did not go well.
That's
So maybe
interesting.
it's a ship that had problems refueling.
Or a part of one, because that doesn't
Right.
look like the complete ship.
Sure.
Right.
But I'm saying,
Yeah,
gas
this is-
giants are
This is
difficult to-
clearly not a complete ship. You're not seeing anywhere on here where. So Jack's not seeing anywhere on here where you could successfully dock, but there is an opening here at the end where it's been clearly ripped off of something else that you could make an egress to board and search.
This would
Also,
be the most epic spacewalk ever. Let's do it.
also, your sensors are picking up low energy, very low power readings coming from this.
All right. Do they make 0G harpoons? A rope with an electromagnet on the end that you
They
can turn on and
actually do.
off.
They do. They make space harpoons.
Yeah, I would say they probably do. Yeah.
Because
I mean,
I
I
would,
think they already used one.
would
We
think
already used one.
I would think you'd want a long cable, a long wire with like an electromagnet on the end that you have a button that you could turn on and off.
Right.
So you could throw and have the magnet attached and then pull yourself in and
Right,
and
but
be
if it was made by Dodge, it would detach from the launcher end and not from the harpoon end.
sure.
So
Why
you're
not,
not
right?
you're not just going to lose the harpoon, but you're going to lose the entire cable in between. Hey man, you got to
That's
generate
okay.
profit somehow, right?
This could be worse. Could be made by Triumph.
It could be made by Triumph, right?
No, I prefer Austin Healy.
Well, who
They're
doesn't?
even
I
worse
mean,
than Triumph.
My buddy's dad worked on Triumphs, and he had a belt, the Triumph belt buckle, and he said that's the only thing Triumph made that didn't leak oil. And they used to joke that the electrical company that made all the lighting and
Lucas.
wiring had their motto was a good day's work and then home before dark.
Did you ever see that
Home
comic?
before tea.
Oh no, home before dark because they made all the headlights that were really shitty.
Did you ever see the comic about the mechanic that was taking the Tiger out for a test drive after working on it, and he comes back and he's telling the other mechanic, he's like, well, everything's running right, but something smells like it's burning, and you look at his elbow and his entire patch of his work suit is burned off. There's like a burn mark because the Tiger sat so low to the ground, and it's like, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, yeah.
All right,
I-
yeah, let's go in close. Let's try to do a spacewalk.
Let's get a sunbeam.
Yes.
Let's start maneuvering close enough that we could hypothetically spacewalk, and let's see how the whale's going to respond to that.
Okay, well that's going to be Jack making another spacecraft plus piloting spacecraft plus dex check. Holy shit! So Jack not.
and I think I can speak for Bocephus, but I'm pretty sure that Bocephus would be trying to psychically communicate with that whale.
Oh, more than likely, yeah. So so Jack Jack just kind of he slides.
Does a little bootleg.
Yeah, does a little bootleg and brings you guys right up. So he's not docked, but he's holding position, and you can open the airlock door and basically just jump and land on the other side with your mag boots. You don't have to worry about cables or nothing. And he's just holding position there, and he's matched rotation and the whole bit. Bocephus does tell you guys he has contact. Well, contact is.
He might.
There are no, because it's an animal. There are no surface thoughts, but he has reached out empathically, and he can tell you what he feels empathically, and what he feels is that the Leviathan, and I can tell you, it is immature. It's a young Leviathan. It had nothing to do with the destruction of this ship, but it thinks that this ship is a kindred because it is feeling the energy emanations coming from the ship. It thinks that it is another living thing, and it is
injured. It's like an injured.
It thinks that it's injured, and it's been looking for somebody to help it. It thinks that you guys and Deepnight Revelation are a similar species, and is trying to get you to help it.
So, okay, that makes sense. Well, let's see how good the engineer's vac suit training is. I'll go over, and I know the engineer will probably go over. Who else wants to go over and check this ship out?
I will, with my hand scanner and my.
No, I didn't waste that 0 in vac suit for nothing. I might as well go with them, with my guns.
I mean, Jack can go too if he wants. I mean,
guns.
he's put this thing in a parking situation so well that the auto dock is gonna just hold you there.
No, I'll be all right on the ship.
Okay.
On the
We
steering
need to
wheel.
get away. I brought my shotgun. I always go with a shotgun inside a ship.
So, Mayak is trying to show off for Chandra, and he gets into the airlock, and he steps out, and he goes to step off, and somehow he screws this up, and he starts to go into a tumble.
What a fucking retard.
Leave him there.
Yeah, the rest of you are standing there like, God damn it.
Yeah, I'm totally
Somebody
like.
tell him to turn on his mag boots and point his boots at the ship.
I'm making sure I
Are we
get good
sure?
video.
I mean, this guy's just going to be a hazard for the rest of the trip. Maybe we should just let him float away.
I'm getting good video footage of it. Then I'll start talking him through how to correct himself.
And so then Chandra is like, don't worry, I got it. She goes out and she grabs him, but because he's kind of flailing, he sends her into a tumble.
I'm gonna try to harpoon him.
Well, they're going to die together. Might as well make them happy, right?
I'm throwing the harpoon to try to.
Okay. So go ahead and make a. I would say that's probably gun combat slug plus dex.
Sure. Never mind, this is Gauss pistol.
Ah, that's fine. Well, at least you got it there. So you fire it out, and Chandra has Mayak in one arm, and he grabs the cable, and is kind of hanging onto it.
Just start reeling them in.
Okay. So you reel them back in, and Mayak kind of bumps his helmet and up against Chandra and turns off comms for a second, and then both their comms come back online. And he says, "I apologize for that, sir. I'm ready to try again."
Please do.
Turn your boots on.
Yeah.
Turn your magnetic boots on.
Make
Don't
sure-
leave them off.
So this time he jumps and lands smoothly on the other side. And he attaches, this time he went over with the line and attached it to the other side. So the rest of you can just slide down the line to the entrance of this large, or not that large. You are seeing that this is like a 40 D-ton, well, 50 D-ton section of ship. It looks
Awful
bigger in
man.
this picture, but it's not big.
It's too big to get in our cargo hold. But
Yes.
all right,
Well,
yeah,
we could always drag it back.
let's go check it out.
I don't know what we want it for, but maybe we do.
So everybody making the jump across. Everybody that's making the jump make a vac suit plus dex check.
Ooh. That's a 7.
That's a 7.
That's with dexterity, right?
Yeah, but you're attached to the line, so this suddenly becomes routine.
I'm getting this all covered.
Yeah, you only need a 6 plus now that you got a line. Now that Captain Dipshit has gone over and landed on the other side. So,
Maybe we ought to check this guy to see if he has any any mental disorders.
Yeah, it's called being completely untrained and trying to impress somebody.
right, yes, that would be his disorder, young and stupid. And so, yeah, you guys are able to travel down this mag line, and everybody gets over to the other side. Sarda, George, and Randolph make a recon plus intellect check.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I know that's the tough one for George, right?
No, today it is. That is
10.
3 plus 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8. I rolled a 3.
Well, you still got it. So George and Randolph, you notice that Mayak, as Sarda comes down, he grips his arm and helps him down. He helps George down, then he helps Randolph down. And when Chandra comes down, he didn't grab her arm. He grabs her by the waist and sets her down and make sure that she's okay and checks out her gear. Did you cross okay? He's all about it. And she's all kinds of bashful about it too. You two notice there's definitely some kind of chemistry between these two.
All right, they need to stop working together.
We're gonna send him to the mines.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it's he's gonna,
One gets day shift, one gets night shift.
It's just going to cause problems on the job.
So
Now, they can hang out after his shift.
So you guys get into this vessel, and the first thing that you notice, so this bulb here, it's hard to describe what this probably was, but it seems like this was a probably a crew supply area. You see that there are all of the cabinets and whatnot are busted open by decompression. The bulkhead going into the rest of the ship is also blown open. In fact, I have something for this.
Yeah, so I'm just lighting everything up and recording whatever we see.
Okay.
You gotta edit later and add some music.
So
I definitely will for his spacewalk.
the first thing that you guys, I mean, you're used to the desk necks, which is cramped enough. You've been on plenty of rift ships. Everything's always cramped. This seems even more cramped. This internal corridor that leads to this next section, you can only move up and down one at a time, single file, and it's short enough, probably not for the race that came through here, but it's short enough that most of you have to kind of lean over a little bit, because it's maybe 6 feet tall at the highest. And so most everybody has to duck a little bit to get through this passage. And you get into this next section, and it appears to be, on initial eyeballing, you can see that this looks like it's probably a mess area.
Okay.
And again, it's been open to vacuum. All of the cabinets are open. There are foil-covered packages of what you can and there's alien language writing on it. You're guessing that they're probably food, but you
Right.
don't know. They are very similar to things that you have seen, but you can't really tell what they are. They could be plastic
Right.
explosives for all you know.
I take a package with each of the different language character sequences, i.e. names.
Yeah, mystery food.
I'm looking for anything that might be
Mystery Food 1, Mystery Food 2.
I'm looking for anything that might be electronic controls of any sort. I figure if we can find essentially computer chips, remove them all, bring them back.
Make a recon plus intellect check.
All right. No, not good.
So you don't find anything in here, but George and Randolph, you can see that there is another bulkhead that continues leading on down this section of the shaft, and again, it has been blown open to vacuum.
That's why we have the suits.
Right.
Let's explore.
Okay. So
George goes first.
Yeah, I'll go first.
George goes first. Randolph kind of follows. You come back to this final bulb section here, and you can tell. George, make a mechanic plus intellect check.
Oh, good. I'm pretty good at those too. Let's put my dice away. Oh shit. I rolled another 3. That's 2 in a row. I'm not doing so good tonight with the rolls. That's 5. That's going to be 7.
So
stop rolling dice now.
So that's still you only need a routine. So you can tell that this particular bulkhead it's a little bit heavier than the rest of them. It seems that it held out for a time and then gave way. So it gave way last compared to the other bulkheads that you've been through so far. This, on eyeballing it, as the two of you come in here, appears to be in some kind of engineering compartment. And you do see that there are 3 bodies in vac suits that are tethered together, and they are tied to a central plinth in the middle of this engineering section.
Okay. Can we take a look at some of the bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bodies,
I assume they're dead after 14 years.
yes, they
Or maybe
are.
they might come to life and eat us.
Yeah, no, they are all very dead. They are, of course, at this point, mummified, desiccated and mummified in their vac suits. But they appear to be a little smaller and more lightly built than humans. They have what you can tell looks like a reddish-brown skin. And they may have what appears on their skin to be a cross between scales and feathers.
It's like
Oh, so
chicken.
like they're like little dinosaur creatures.
Yeah, Randolph, go ahead and make a...
Do they have 3-chambered hearts?
Probably. But, I mean, you don't know. You're going to have to... I mean,
That's
you'd
why-
have to open one up to find out. But Randolph,
That's
go
why
ahead
we
and make...
brought a xenobiologist.
Randolph, make a recon plus intellect check.
7.
So over on the wall, you do see that there is a console, and there is some power to the console.
Oh my. After all this time, and all this damage, there's still power?
There is
That was what was causing the whale to think that there might be something
alive here. Yeah.
I wonder if it's solar power, but it's all covered in rocks, so how could... Ain't gonna be much
Batteries.
sunlight getting through.
They might only be tech level 9, but they have excellent lipo batteries. They're all swollen at this point, but, you know. So
they can't catch fire. There's no oxygen.
you are able to access this panel, and you don't understand any of it, but you could. I mean, there is a port that you could theoretically, with some minor mechanical modifications, jack into and download data from this port.
Let's do it.
Who wants to make the mechanics plus intellect check?
Well,
George.
I don't want to roll any dice, but
George is
Okay.
like all nervous now.
I got a 6.
you got
No,
a 6.
George is the guy to do this.
Oh,
This is-
Jesus Christ.
Let me guess, he
You
rolled
got double
snake eyes.
He got snake eyes.
Told you.
So George goes to plug in. George's like, I think I got this, and he goes to plug in, and he goes, pew, and shuts down.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, guys.
Well,
Should have gone with a
Uh,
6.
let's just
Okay.
start. Let's start
How about
disassembling
a
everything.
screwdriver and start taking this thing apart?
Yeah, Randolph, go ahead and go do it.
Let's just physically
So Randolph, I guess, yeah, make a either mechanic or electronics plus intellect or education check.
Or should we ask the mechanic we brought with us if she's better?
I got a 6.
So Randolph is able to pull the back end off of this thing, and you can see where this emergency power cell, and indeed it is like a lipo battery, and it is swollen. You could technically plug in another power source.
Yeah, I'm not doing nothing.
I am touching nothing.
I rolled like such crap tonight. Like that's like 2 3s and a deuce in the same half an hour. I'm not rolling any more dice.
So do we have?
I've got
does anybody-
power too. I guess I could do that.
Yeah, go ahead and make an electronics power plus intellect or education.
I'll give advice and support to give him boon dice.
10.
So Randolph is able to get the whole thing back up and running, and it does start to feed data to George's tablet.
Great, because
And it-
I'm just going to sit there and look at my tablet. I'm going to look at Randolph, and I'm just going to shrug my back shoulders and just say, "What the fuck?"
And what's
And
coming into
Randolph
your
is gonna
tablet
say,
is just a
Hey, dude, scotch when we get
it's
back.
a tumble of alien jumbly juke. I mean, it
I have
looks like
I have some single malts hidden away.
yeah, George
More
needs a
than
drink.
that.
So what's coming into your tablet looks like the symbols off of a Stargate. I mean, who knows what their language is, but it's dumping in.
Yeah, let's grab everything we can.
Okay.
Why don't we? And then when we get done with that, let's just rip this panel out and take it with us.
Just hit the whole panel
I
with-
agree. No, I agree. Let's physically remove it.
All right. Well, we will pick this up next week at 7. Oh no, we won't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
week you're
I
2
am
weeks.
I am gone next week for Colton's wedding, and so we will be gone next week. But in 2 weeks, we will come back and pick this up, and we'll go over what you find out about the data that you have downloaded.
We also want to bring the 3 corpses back with us.
Yes, you probably do.
Well, I'm not rolling for that either.
Don't worry, man. You got 2 weeks. You'll probably be rolling better by then.
I may not be here on the July 7th, so we'll see.
Okay. All
Or
right.
you're gonna
Well,
be-
I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and I will see you soon.
Toronto.
Toronto?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Take
Have a
care,
good night,
guys.
guys.
I've
Take
been
care.
to Toronto a few times. It was a nice place.
I hate Toronto. No, like I really do. It's
So,
work. I don't like it. All right, take care.
Have a good night, guys.
That was kind of a weird place.
Well,